Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I thought this little tweet right here, or this little reply from Jeremy Hogan, he's the, for those of you that don't know, he's the official attorney that talks about the SEC Ripple case of the Digital Asset Investor channel. He tweeted this out today. He was responding to someone. This guy says, my theory that it's all about the Ripple's escrow. If Congress declares that regulating digital assets is a matter of national security, the federal government could invoke its eminent domain power to expropriate private property for public use. Interesting thought pattern there. Then this guy, Jeremy Hogan, replies, confiscation of the escrowed XRP would certainly be within executive powers. See Gold Reserve Act of 1933, etc. But in a twist of irony, the Fed would have to declare XRP a currency before confiscation. Mickey B. Fresh, who's an extremely smart guy, comes in. He says, doesn't matter what executive powers are invoked, the escrow can't be confiscated in its entirety because it's cryptographically locked on the XRPL. Only power is within an 80% of a validator vote. The monthly escrow release goes to Ripple, multi-sig wallet. Who knows who's on that? Now, it's just an interesting, chain of thought, is because I've always felt like there was always a lingering question about XRP out there, and that was, would we be allowed to keep it? Now, I've never been concerned with whether, if we weren't allowed to keep it, or if Ripple's not allowed to keep its escrow. I've never been concerned about whether or not everybody would not just be made whole, but come out just fine, where we weren't upset about it. but this is just an interesting, the whole thought pattern. And by the way, by the end of this video, I intend to open your eyes to some things if you haven't had them opened yet. Stay tuned, it's coming. Steve Gilbronson sent me this. Ripple CEO and SEC agree on a timeline for arguments, and it's this letter right here that the article's about. SEC versus crypto, briefing scheduled for motions to dismiss, agreed upon and proposed by parties. So here's the letter. They've got several dates in. They propose opening briefs April 12th, SEC's brief in opposition by May 14th, and individual defendants' reply briefs due by June 4th, 2021. So I'm waiting on one of these attorneys to weigh in on exactly what all this means, and when they do, I will show it to you. XRP Crypto Wolf, Ripple advisors cryptocurrency connections kill appointment as banking regulator. Former Ripple Advisory Board member Michael Barr was too moderate and pro-crypto for progressives who blocked his nomination as comptroller of the currency. So that's an interesting thing. Now, here we go. Turn your ears on for sure for the next, say, 10 minutes or so. Listen up. Here we go. Watch this. So this week I did that thing on, I called it the Alice and Bob theory. Well, I would call what I'm about to show you the HSBC theory. Okay, HSBC Bank, one of the largest banks in the world. But this is how I started on this journey today, and I'm going to show you some things that a lot of you probably have never seen. Alice and Bob, this is Riz XRP. Alice and Bob, he's talking about Ripple's private ledger, and I was making, when Ripple announced that they were going to have working on private ledgers for CBDCs with these central banks, I was just posing the question, well, if private ledgers are good enough on the XRP ledger for central banks, doesn't it stand to reason that there will be major companies and major banks that also want to have private ledgers that are created on the XRP ledger? Maybe like a Facebook Diem project, or an Amazon, or an HSBC. These were the things I was talking about. Now listen up, because I'm going to show you some things some of you may have never seen. So as we go down here, first, And first I wanted to show you this, because I showed you how Gary Gensler, and then we were talking about how they use these examples of Alice and Bob. And yes, I know that this whole Alice and Bob is supposedly this is a standard use of an example in cryptography that's been used. Now, how far that goes back, who knows? But it's this standard example that's used. But I've shown you at least 2 or 3 examples of how it points, including what I showed you the other day, where David Schwartz specifically said that example, they were talking about that example in the context of Bob Way, who was one of the first 10 employees at Ripple. Now, he may have just been applying an example that had been used for years in that industry. Who knows? Maybe. But Ripple is everywhere you look when you see this Alice and Bob, and then it just starts popping up everywhere else. Here's another place that popped up. Here's Gary Gensler. I'll show you the example he uses. I showed you him using it in a video the other day. I can't remember if maybe this is the same video, a clip from the video I showed you. Let's see. It might be the same
tax
clip.
Treatments, but I'm not going to go through the currency. So central banking and money, we talked about a little bit. This is a kind of chart that I borrowed from
you see Alice and Bob down there. This may be one of his lectures that's different from the one I showed you. But the important thing is the source down here. And I showed you this in a video the other day. The source is Richard Gendel Brown, Thoughts on the Future of Finance. Well, here's Richard G. Brown. He is with R3 now. And let me look here. This is the same Richard Brown, the CTO of R3. This video is provided from Darren Moore. You need to go subscribe to him because he's extremely smart and has some really good videos. Go give him a subscribe. But this is Richard Brown right here.
Ripple at all as a company? I know that there was some extracurricular activity that was working its way through the courts, but and it's since been resolved. But I'm curious if there's ongoing discussions, since one of their primary focus is on the interbank settlement component that you're also touching.
So, frankly, Ripple's probably the only topic I can't talk about. I just had to talk about it. I can't talk about it.
All right, so he just can't talk about it, right? So this is Richard Brown. He is R3's CTO. He was with IBM before that for 15 years, okay? Very smart guy. Now, this is the latest video that I was able to find on Richard Brown. And remember, here's the backdrop for those of you that don't know. SBI Holdings bought 10.5% of Ripple back in 2016. They're the largest outside shareholders in both Ripple and in R3, SBI Holdings. Okay, so, and then SBI Holdings, Yoshitaka Kitao, the CEO, is on Ripple's board, and he has made very clear time and time again that through those two companies, he intends to make XRP a global thing. Okay, so this is Richard. This is Richard Brown, who cannot talk about Ripple, but listen what he does say at 11:50. And when he said this, I immediately knew the one place that I had heard that before in my life.
And it's great to see how the market has almost, there's been this almost like a sort of a biology like Cambrian explosion of platforms.
Okay, now there's 2 times I think in my life where I've heard the phrase Cambrian explosion used. Well, actually 3. The first 2 were by one person, and the third was by Richard Brown in this clip I just showed you. And this clip is from March 10th, 2021. And if you listen to this channel often, you know that words mean things, phrases mean things. Well, this is the last guy that I heard use that, the first, second, and then it was Richard Brown.
Is a replacement for SWIFT and correspondent banking. How do you get all of the payment providers, all of the wallets onto ILP, and then how do you use XRP as on-demand liquidity so that all of these providers don't have to keep balances all over the world because the process is so inefficient. We think that's the winning kind of killer app. And then I think last group talked about a Cambrian explosion. Yeah. Then you get that Cambrian explosion.
Right. So that, and by the way, I was looking everywhere for that clip of him saying Cambrian explosion, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I had to go back to one of my own videos to find it. Now, there were 2 times when he said Cambrian explosion. It was not just that one. When this is Chris Larson, by the way, chairman of Ripple, when he's on stage with Michael Arrington. There was 2 times. The first time, though, I think it was the first, was when he was on stage at HSBC Tech Connections in San Francisco in 2018. There he is right there. And this is a Ripple tweet from July 18th, 2018. Once value can be sent as instantly as data, we'll have a Cambrian explosion of new companies that can take advantage of this system. This is the beginning of the second internet, the hashtag internet of value. All right, so I was just going to show you a few things. This is Chris Larson on stage at HSBC Tech Connections. What was interesting about this little conference is it was Chris Larson, and then it was pretty much mostly HSBC execs, and I'll show you in a second. And then you get to this. My son's asking me to come get chicken fingers out of the oven, but they're not ready yet. I've burned chicken fingers many a time in the oven because of this channel, by the way. Okay, because I forget about them. All right, so and then here's Chris Larson on that same stage. Now there's several clips where what they did is they did several promo clips at that conference. This one is the co-founder of Netflix that was there with Chris Larson. Watch.
Partnerships. In-house innovation is really difficult if you're...
Each one of these, by the way, has a different theme. This one is in-house or strategic partners.
Other than an early stage company.
I think collaboration is the way we're really going to get leverage, and it also teaches us that we got to work together.
I'd like a
Okay, and then the next one, this one was Tech Hero is the theme.
Those are my team.
Stefan Thomas, one of the early Bitcoin team members, and now he runs a phenomenal company called Coil. Jack Ma.
Okay, and then the theme of this one was biggest threat.
Firms that use different business models that basically will do the things that we do for free so they can capture the data.
The big boys gobbling us up and stealing our IP and our teams.
Ignorance.
Complacency? Well, I think the biggest threat going on now is there's a backlash, techlash, here in Silicon Valley, and we brought it on ourselves by not focusing enough on privacy, being too cavalier about disruption, and we got to fix that. That's a problem.
Well, certainly.
Okay, and then this one was next big thing.
It's going to take many different forms, but it's going to be AI. It's going to affect every single piece of the business that we do and the way that we do business.
I think that a big thing is going to be people disconnecting and reevaluating how much time we're spending on devices versus with people and our friends.
Probably.
And finally, the theme is big hopes for AI development.
And it'll be value-adding.
The people that are building it are optimists and not pessimists. There's a dark version of it, and then there's a very wonderful version of it.
I think AI.
So you can see, I wanted to show you all of those to show you that he was not just on the HSBC Tech Advisory Board. He's right there with these guys. I mean, they're literally putting him right in the mix with their major executives there at HSBC at this conference. And then you had this from this person back in 2019, just in HSBC processes first blockchain letter of credit using Chinese yuan on R3's Voltron platform. Chris Larson is on the board, technology advisory board for HSBC, by the way. Then there was this tweet from HSBC in the US back in April 2019. From distributed ledgers to cloud services and AI technology is transforming global trade and supply chain strategies. Andrew Betts, Global Trade Receivables Finance Europe. HSBC moderates during HSBC's The State of Global Trade, featuring experts from from R3 right here. All right. And then there was this, if you know R3's history. They were founded September 2014. It's founded December 2015. 42 founding members of the consortium. Here is the article. Citi, HSBC partner with R3. It used to be called R3 Sev. As blockchain project adds 13 banks. And then here's the banks. In release, R3 revealed Bank of America, BNY Mellon, Citi, Commerce Bank, Deutsche Bank, HSBC, Mitsubishi UFJ, Morgan Stanley, National Australia Bank, Royal Bank of Canada, SEB, Societe Generale, Toronto Dominion Bank, But you see, these are the two, I think, BNY Mellon and HSBC. But this video is about HSBC. So the other day, when I was talking about the potential for private company ledgers, I showed you that what jumped out at me when I was talking about Diem, which is Facebook's, what was Libra. Diem is their digital currency. And they've said that it's going to be, I think they called it a stable coin that's going to be tied to the value. It's going to be like a basket of currencies or basket of things. But anyway, so my question was, well, if there's going to be private ledgers with central banks, then why wouldn't that be good enough for big companies or big banks to have private ledgers on the XRP ledger? And so then I found that this guy, the CEO, he's the CEO of the Diem Association, Stuart Levy. And I showed you how decorated he was. He went to the Diem Association after he was the chief legal officer at HSBC Holdings PLC. What a coincidence. And before that, he was the undersecretary for terrorism and financial intelligence from July 2004 to March 2011. And remember the timeline, folks. 2004 to 2011, Bitcoin pops out right around 2009 and starts to get a lot of steam. And what did the media come out and say? And what have they said for 10 years about Bitcoin? All we've heard, oh, it's for money laundering, it's for terrorist financing, and all that talk. I've told you before on this channel, I've always believed that what that really was is that Bitcoin was created by governments, and I don't know which one. And I believe the intention, they wanted they wanted terrorists and the bad guys around the world to think that there was this new technology that where money could be hidden so that they would go hide it. And the freaking governments knew that they couldn't hide it, that it was not just trackable, but really trackable. And I believe it was designed for that reason. So now let's go back. So you've got this guy, Stuart Levy, and he leaves HSBC, chief legal officer. Now, I believe that's HSBC Global, right? Chief legal officer. Well, what are the chances? Stuart Alderati, who he was general counsel of HSBC North America during the same time, 2010 to 2016. This guy's 2012 to 2020. So these guys are on the same exact team at HSBC. One's global and one's in the Americas. And then I saw this. This is from 2012. This report was put out. U.S. vulnerabilities, and this is a public thing, U.S. vulnerabilities to money laundering, drugs, and terrorist financing, an HSBC case history. So this whole thing that's put out by the Department of Homeland, is this Homeland Security? Permanent Subcommittee, let me see. Yeah, Committee on Homeland Security. This is a subcommittee on Homeland Security. This whole thing is about money laundering. Now, how many times in seeing of these digital assets, if you look at Ripple and if you look at the Diem project, both of them are all focused on AML and those types of things because they've been working with regulators from day one. But if you go down here to page 18, let's get on to page 18 just so you see. So they were talking on this one page about how HSBC had been restructuring and all of this. And who do they mention on this page? In 2012, HSBC Holdings PLC also appointed a new chief legal officer, Stuart Levy, former undersecretary for terrorism and financial intelligence at the U.S. Treasury Department. And then, right here, the current COO is this. Current general counsel is Stuart Alderati, and the chief current auditor is Mark Martinelli. They're talking about HSBC. Both guys in the same document, and they're talking about something that could be solved with digital assets, in my opinion. Okay, so I was going to tell you, Unstoppable Domains, look what they've sold this week. They put their premium domains for sale in the month of the March Madness. Each week they're doing a different thing. They're releasing new premium domains. This is at the top of the description of this video. You can click the link and go get, you can buy domains for 40 if you just come up with a name you like. But these are the premium domains that they've never released them before. Hotels.crypto sold for $100,000 this week. Flights.crypto sold for $100,000. Then they had a lot of them that sold for a lot less than that, and you can see what those are. This week, their theme is going to be real estate. So if you can imagine getting realestate.crypto, I'm sure that one's going to come out and be pretty pricey too. Go check it out. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family to go check out these premium domains in